Let's not wait any longer and take a look.
First, for beginners. For those who are not familiar with Korea, let's start with the world-famous list.
You can see how Korea's beautiful traditional patterns and historical features have been preserved.
And don't forget to experience Korea's intangible cultural heritage. From Gangangsule to Talchum, there's just so many exciting cultural heritages to experience.
These are for intermediate level tourists who have already visited Korea and its famous attractions. You might even be standing in a World Heritage Site right now.
How about searching for intangible cultural heritage that you can experience? 한소리, 제주 해녀 diving, 김장. Make some unforgettable memories while having fun.
Last but not least, the advanced level. It's the memory of the World Register. Korea possesses an extensive documentary heritage. Korea is serious about documentation and preservation.
A tour of Korean cultural heritage will become a legacy of your own.
Why not make your own Korean cultural heritage travel itinerary?
Isn't it fascinating?
Introducing Korean broadcast content that you won't be able to stop watching. For weary modern souls, Dr. Romantic, the quirky genius doctor of Puldam Hospital, prescribes heartwarming tales of humanity. A couple together for 7 years sees their rose-tinted glasses shatter. Can they keep their relationship alive? Discover the raw stories of youth, work, and love. Beyond what social media can show, experience the vibrant Korea through its hidden gems. Mama, the ultimate K-pop festival for global fans. Find your star in a feast of trendy music and electrifying performances. Now, the whole world enjoys it together.
The moment we wear it, our spirits lift. It helps us grow strong in body and in mind. As we wear it, we learn patience and respect. The belt system motivates students to strive harder and continue growing. This uniform shapes movement into grace and turns performance into something thrilling. Now, embraced around the world, Taekwondo shares our culture, philosophy, and values with pride and spirit. Though it may seem simple, this uniform holds your passion and your journey. It belongs to Taekwondo. Wear the extraordinary. Be with Taekwondo.
During a meeting between leaders of the United States and Japan at the White House, U.S. President Donald Trump said he expects Tokyo to play a greater role in protecting the Strait of Hormuz. stressing that Washington has invested significant resources in defending Japan. Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi sought to reaffirm her alliance with the U.S., stressing the importance of preventing Iran from developing nuclear weapons. Qatar Energy has announced that it may have to declare force majeure on long-term LNG contracts with key importers, including South Korea, for up to 5 years, after Iran carried out a direct attack on Qatar's critical LNG infrastructure. With only a day left until the BTS comeback concert at Gwanghwamun Square, major traffic controls will be in place in central Seoul, with Sejongdae-do closed to vehicles from 9 p.m. today until 6 a.m. Sunday. Hello and thanks for joining us on Arirang News. We begin today in the United States, where President Donald Trump has urged Japan to step up support during a meeting with the Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, as Washington works to keep the Strait of Hormuz open amid the escalating war involving Iran. Our Lee Seung-jae starts us off.
U.S. President Donald Trump has called on Japan to step up its support as the United States works to keep the Strait of Hormuz open amid the ongoing war involving Israel and Iran. Speaking during a meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi at the White House on Thursday, Trump noted Japan's heavy reliance on the strategic waterway for its energy imports. He also pointed to the long-standing security relationship between the two allies, highlighting the presence of roughly 45,000 U.S. troops stationed in Japan. Trump said he expects Tokyo to play a greater role, stressing that the United States has invested significant resources in defending Japan. He added that he would not be surprised if Japan increases its support, though he did not specify what form such assistance might take. The Strait of Hormuz, which carries about 1/5 of the world's oil supply, has effectively been choked off by the intensifying conflict. The disruption has fueled concerns over rising global oil prices and mounting inflationary pressure. Japan is particularly vulnerable, with more than 90% of its crude oil imports passing through the strait. Trump also drew attention after responding to a question from a Japanese journalist about why Washington did not inform its European and Asian allies in advance of strikes on Iran.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, do you believe in surprise? I think much more so than us.
For her part, Prime Minister Takaichi underscored the importance of preventing Iran from developing nuclear weapons while condemning Tehran's attacks across the Middle East. She reaffirmed Japan's commitment to regional stability and close cooperation with the United States as tensions continue to rise.
Japan condemns Iran's actions, such as attacking the neighboring region and also the effective closure of the Strait of Hormuz, as a matter of fact. My fellow minister, Foreign Minister Motegi, also had a direct exchange with the Iranian Foreign Minister and urged Iran to stop such activities.
The Prime Minister added that she firmly believes President Trump is the only leader capable of achieving global peace, citing what she described as an increasingly severe international security environment. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
As the conflict in the Middle East escalates, concerns over long-term energy supply disruption intensify. South Korea, one of the largest importers of Qatari LNG, may have to brace for the termination of its energy contracts. Our An Seung-jin has the details.
Fears over a global energy crisis intensify after major energy facilities in the Middle East were damaged. Qatar Energy announced on Friday that it may invoke force majeure on long-term LNG contracts with key importers including South Korea, China, Italy, and Belgium for up to 5 years. Its CEO said the decision comes after a direct attack on its critical LNG infrastructure in Ras Laffan Industrial City. The strike by Iran targeted a facility responsible for roughly 20% of global LNG supply. 2 LNG production lines and 1 gas-to-liquids facility were destroyed. The damage knocked out 17% of Qatar Energy's total export capacity, with repairs expected to take 3 to 5 years. According to Qatari authorities, the attack is estimated to cut the country's annual output by approximately 12.9 million tons. This attack came as a retaliatory strike by Iran on energy infrastructure across Gulf states, including Qatar, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia.
Unfortunately, this act of sabotage reflects nothing but an aggressive and irresponsible policy and a dangerous escalation by the Iranian side.
South Korea is one of the largest importers of Qatari LNG. Although it has diversified supply sources to include the US and Australia, Qatar still accounts for roughly 20% of its imports, with long-term contracts covering about 6.1 million tons annually. The state-run Korea Gas Corporation stated that current reserves exceed mandatory levels and can sustain demand through the end of the year. And on Friday morning, the Blue House said that Qatar accounts for about 14% of Seoul's LNG imports this year, and that alternative suppliers are available. It added that with uncertainty increasing, the government will closely monitor supply and prices and respond as needed. However, prolonged disruptions could force countries into fierce competition for limited LNG supplies on the spot market, driving up prices not only for industrial sectors, but also energy costs for households. An Song-jin, Arirang News.
And South Korea is setting up a joint public-private task force in response to the launch of a U.S. Section 301 trade investigation. Trade Minister Yo Han-gu led a series of high-level trade meetings on Friday to discuss strategies to prevent an unfavorable outcome for Korea related to the probe. He said the investigation is likely to be aimed at reinstating tariff levels set in the trade deal agreed last November before the U.S. Supreme Court invalidated broad tariffs imposed by the Trump administration last month. Yo added that a joint public-private task force involving industry and experts will be launched to file written submissions and take part in public hearings to finalize a response by the middle of next month. Meanwhile, North Korea's Kim Jong-un has claimed that the regime's new main battle tank has unmatched self-defense capabilities and said it will be deployed across the army on a massive scale. According to the North Korean Central News Agency on Friday, Kim attended a joint offensive tactical drill at a Pyongyang Army training base the day before. The drill featured a new main battle tank equipped with an active protection system. The report said the tank, when tested, intercepted anti-tank missiles and drones from multiple directions with a 100% hit rate. Photos released by state media also showed Kim's daughter Jue riding in a tank alongside him. Seoul's Unification Ministry says the drill appears to be a reaction to the joint military exercise between South Korea and the United States, although there was no mention of the two countries in the North report. South Korea is preparing for massive crowds as BTS makes a full group comeback in central Seoul on Saturday, with up to 260,000 people expected to gather in the Gwanghwamun area. Major traffic controls will be in place with Sejongdae closed for vehicles from 9 p.m. today until 6 a.m. Sunday. On the day of the event, nearby roads will be shut in stages while buses will be rerouted. Subway access will also be restricted. Some station entrances will close from early morning, with all entrances shut after 3 p.m. Saturday, as trains will pass through without stopping. The Seoul city government will also run an on-site command center, mobilizing around 8,000 safety personnel, while 6,000 police officers will be deployed. As fans around the world await BTS' return, the title of their upcoming album is sparking renewed interest in the Korean word Arirang, which also happens to be the name of the station you're watching. Our Chung Il-im tells us more.
The countdown to BTS's return is almost over, but as the hype builds, the album's title, Arirang, is drawing attention. For international fans, this single word is sparking curiosity.
Arirang? I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It's like something to do with traditional music. Traditional Korean music.
So their new album's called Arirang, but I'm not entirely sure what that means. I would assume it's something to do with like unity.
Actually, I heard it's like a folk song of Korea. Because BTS is from Korea, of course they want to show to the world.
During a recent Weavers Life broadcast, the group's leader explained the thought process behind naming their highly anticipated album.
한국을 상징하는 무언가가 같이 들어가면 좋겠다라는 생각을 하다가 이제 아리랑이라는 키워드를 좀 불러오게 되었는데.
With the release of BTS's latest album on Friday, many fans are wondering what Arirang actually means. So, what is the story behind this iconic melody? Simply put, Arirang is Korea's most famous traditional folk song. But for Koreans, it is much more than just that. Passed down orally through generations with countless regional variations, the song carries the universal emotions of Han, a deep sense of sorrow, and Hung, a resilient joy.
Arirang is a song that symbolizes Korean culture and has been with us throughout our history and lives. It was the song our people sang to endure hardships in unfamiliar environments abroad. You could say this historical experience has led to our deep affection for it.
What makes Arirang meaningful today is that it is no longer just a song of the past, but is being rediscovered and reinterpreted by a new generation. Experts say BTS is playing a crucial role in this ongoing evolution.
BTS's choice of Arirang is an example of modernly expanding its value through music that resonates across race, culture, and social status.
From a song rooted in Korea's past to a symbol reaching audiences worldwide, Arirang is once again finding new meaning today. 정혜림, Arirang News.
Amid rapid technological growth, a global forum exploring sustainable development strategies for medical tourism and related industries opened in Central Seoul. Our Choi Young-eun has this report.
Hosted by the Ministry of Health and Welfare and the Korea Health Industry Development Institute, Medical Korea 2026 is being held under the theme AI-powered global healthcare, bringing the future and the world closer. The event kicked off with sessions sharing global medical trends and examining how emerging technologies are reshaping the healthcare system. The opening presentation outlined concrete strategies to expand global network participation among medical professionals and leverage AI-based tools for communication.
And all the great leaders that are in this room with us doing great things with AI. And that's what's needed more and more around the world. And I'm glad we're talking about it here in Korea because so many look up to Korea for what you do.
Experts noted that while artificial intelligence is accelerating the globalization of healthcare, key challenges in cross-border medical services still remain. One keynote speaker emphasized that the next phase of global healthcare must move beyond AI toward a more accountable system built on trust between physicians.
One of the most challenging things that we have in the real world care, for example, is the continuity of care to fill the gap, and that is the trusted physician network. And thankfully, when we speak of Korean physicians throughout the world.
Another keynote speaker shared insights from participating in an AI-integrated clinical platform, highlighting its growing impact on the healthcare industry.
We can contribute in shifting the focus on this aesthetic-focused field of medical tourism in Korea currently, and provide care for complex medical conditions, and with the introduction of the AI-assisted platform.
Hospitals from around the country are running promotion booths here to showcase their medical services and build long-term collaborations. The showcase exhibition has introduced a wide range of services from AI-based skin analysis to personalized treatments and counseling. Another key pillar of the event was business meetings for networking between overseas patients and domestic medical institutions, designed to lead to tangible partnerships. Choi Young-eun, Arirang News.
In South Korea, young people are stepping away from desk jobs to pursue new career paths, and a growing number are turning to trades, reshaping the meaning of work in South Korea. Kim Jun-ho takes us to the scene.
Energetic K-pop fills the air at a construction site. Working to the rhythm, Kim Kwang-yeon, now in his 30s, is a fourth-year carpenter. He left behind an 8-year career at a company to begin a completely new chapter.
I worked in sales for years, but felt I had little control over my work and was just draining my energy. That's when I started looking into carpentry to build a skill of my own.
With an average age of 29, Kim's team connects with clients through Instagram, working mainly in trendy districts like Seongsu. They're bringing a fresh, youthful touch to the carpentry scene, redefining blue-collar work once viewed as tough and unappealing. As more young people turn to getting a trade, a quiet shift is taking place on the training floor. This vocational institute in Seoul is now becoming a new path for people in their 20s and 30s. Programs like these were, up until recently, mostly utilized by older people seeking retraining, but the rise in interest from younger individuals is evident in the numbers. In some courses, the proportion of students aged 15 to 39 has increased by nearly 18 percentage points in just 2 years.
Since generative AI really took off in 2023, we've seen more inquiries from young people about technical training. The value of human skills has grown, along with demand for such workers in the industry.
When asked why, many young people here did, in fact, point to artificial intelligence.
I worked at a design company, but after AI emerged, my role shrank noticeably, making me question the sustainability of my career. So I chose welding, as it's harder to replace and a skill I can carry for life.
As the world changes at a rapid pace, young people are carving out new paths. The trend goes beyond personal choice, pointing to underlying dynamics in the labor market.
Jobs in South Korea have become fragmented under a dual labor market, adding to overall instability. Blue-collar work, by contrast, is emerging as a more stable option. Labor is not just about earning a living, but about finding meaning and self-realization. In that sense, blue-collar work holds long-term sustainable potential.
Defined by their boldness and the will to pave their own path, younger workers are taking steps to transform the future of labor. Kim Junong, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you everything you need to know from around the globe. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that 20 days of U.S.-Israeli air attacks have decimated Iran's ability to enrich uranium or produce ballistic missiles. During a press conference in Jerusalem on Thursday, Netanyahu said Israel acted alone in bombing energy infrastructure for Iran's South Pars gas field. He said that following President Trump's request, Israel would hold off on future attacks on such energy infrastructure. But Netanyahu warned that removing the regime in Iran would still require a ground component. In the U.S., the Pentagon on Thursday requested an emergency $200 billion to fund the war against Iran. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended the massive price tag, telling reporters, quote, "It takes money to kill bad guys." Hegseth said the funds are necessary to ensure the military remains properly equipped to eliminate threats, but stopped short of confirming the final figure, noting the amount could change during negotiations. The request would need approval from a Congress already wary of the national debt. It comes on top of an $840 billion defense budget signed just last month. Several major European nations and Japan issued a joint statement on Thursday condemning Iran's attacks on civilian infrastructure and de facto closure of the Strait of Hormuz. In the statement, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Japan declared their readiness to make appropriate efforts to secure safe passage through the strait. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko on Thursday pardoned 250 political prisoners following a high-level diplomatic deal with the United States. In exchange, Washington lifted sanctions on 2 Belarusian state banks and the National Finance Ministry. The pardons marked the largest single release of political prisoners in the country's history. Belarus's opposition leader in exile hailed the release as a, quote, moment of great relief and hope. Viasna, a Belarusian human rights group, said that before the release, there were more than 1,100 political prisoners in the country. Chu Ji-han, Arirang News.
Today marks the spring equinox when day and night are nearly equal in length. And right on cue, we could feel a taste of warmer days from now on. But it was still a cold start this morning, especially in inland regions where temperatures have dipped below freezing. But pleasant spring weather continues through the weekend. It's going to stay mostly sunny with comfortable air quality in most places, great for outdoor plans. However, Jeju Island could see a bit of rain starting Sunday afternoon. And this afternoon, Seoul will be getting up to 14 degrees Celsius. Daegu, Busan both topping out at 17 degrees under sunny skies with clean air quality nationwide. We can put away our winter jackets now as much warmer spring days are ahead for next week. But a temperature swing of around 15 degrees Celsius will continue, so please keep that in mind and do dress accordingly.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.